aspects. Financial inclusion has been a focused area both by the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India. As we look at the statistics that is being rolled out since morning, 41% of the rural households do not have access to the savings accounts, and 79% of the rural households do not have access to the formal credit. Banks are now viewing the financial inclusion aspect as a business proposition, and financial inclusion involves reaching of the banks to the unbanked areas, tapping the financial resources that are available with these unbanked people till now to be brought on to the mainstream of banking activity. There is a huge potential for the banks in this arena, and it is observed that almost 18 lakh crore untapped business is there in the rural areas. When we come to the branch network, over the years, between 1969 and till now, while in 1969 there were around 8,000 rural branches, the number of rural branches has increased to 89,000 as at now. As we are deliberating since yesterday, financial inclusion is not merely opening of bank accounts. This basic savings banks accounts or no-frill accounts, as we observe, are being opened in large numbers, in lakhs, whereas when we look at the transactions, hardly 10 to 15% of these accounts are only transacting. We must ensure that the transaction exercise goes up. Financial inclusion and financial literacy go hand in hand. There are two sides of the same coin, and unless we improve upon the financial literacy activities, financial inclusion cannot be taken forward. Looking at the challenges, it is, as we have seen, opening of brick and mortar branches across is not a viable proposition. Basically, when it comes to the business correspondent model, the mindset is the most important thing. Being a banker, what I observe is even the branch managers and the other team do not accept the banking correspondent as an extended arm of business. All the mindset need to be changed, and branch managers need to understand that the BC or the CSP at the village level is worked along with him for viable business proposition. A good connect need to be established between the branch, the CSP or the business correspondent, and the account holders in the rural areas. We in Andhra Bank have found that this is the main reason why we are not able to increase the transactions. Almost, when we look at the transactions, it is only in 1/5 of our FI villages, 1 to 50 transactions are taken per day. So we thought to increase the transactions, we need to step up the campaign. From 15th of this month to the 30th of this month, we launched an FI campaign exclusively, wherein the focus is in conducting meetings between the branch manager, the ultra small branch officer, the account holders and the BCs, so that a good connect is established between them. The other aspect is with regard to the sustainability of the BC. Banks, if we look at, have floated RFPs in the past and have taken large volumes of business in arriving at the financials. But subsequently, when they have gone into the exact business, the BCs have found that the transactions are not being taken place and the viability is a big question. Fixed and variable remuneration should be the focus, because unless a business correspondent at the village level is assured of 5 to 6,000 rupees, because even if he goes for a daily wage earning, he is getting 5 to 6,000 rupees. So unless he is assured of 5 to 6,000 rupees as a commission or remuneration, he will not be showing much of an interest in the job. Banks need to roll out the products which most of the banks are doing, and SHG group accounts. See, the self-help groups is a very good business proposition for the banks also, and if these accounts, these group accounts are shifted to the BCs, probably the transactions and the business volumes can also be increased. As I already said, connectivity, technology issues is another major area. Unless this connectivity is established, it will be difficult to take the financial inclusion aspect forward. One or two other points are with regard to the location of villages and the population. Now, Government of India has directed banks to cover the below 2,000 population villages also. But when banks have started covering these villages, what we find is geographically they are spread in longer distances, and in fact in some of the villages the population is to the tune of 50 to 100. So coverage of villages also is becoming a difficult thing. And finally, but one of the most important factors would be with regard to the cash management. When we are trying to increase the volumes in business, and when we are trying to increase the day-to-day transactions, it is unless we have a robust cash management system in the banks and we are able to provide adequate cash to the CSP at the village level, the system would not work effectively. Ultimately, it is, since the branch location and the CSP location are different, adequate and effective controls need to be exercised, and the illiterate customers need to be clearly explained of the do's and don'ts through the various forums. We may have to conduct literacy camps by way of rather magic shows or some literary shows where they are able to find some interest. Ultimately, it is a collective responsibility of all the different stakeholders, and neither the banks nor individuals can do in isolation. It is the IT solution providers, NGOs, the regulators, and the public at large who need to work together for the success of the financial inclusion at large. Thank you.